got about a little over 415 applications for the current batch, which began in March, and the batch ends in June. And out of those 415 applications, we have a good mix of some e-commerce, about 15% e-commerce, lots of software as a service, B2B applications, and a lot of companies in cloud infrastructure. We also saw quite a few companies in education and healthcare. Of the companies that applied, 415 that applied, nearly about 40% of them were from Bangalore, and a good mix from Pune, Delhi, Chennai, and Hyderabad following on. Of the companies that we inducted, we have about 12 companies in the batch right now. 60% of them are business to business oriented, and 40% of them are consumer facing applications. We have a good mix of both mobile applications on the consumer side and web-based consumer internet applications. And finally, in terms of focus for region, about 50% of them are focused on the US and global markets, and 50% of them are focused on the India markets. So I think out of all of these sectors, the companies themselves are amazingly different, right? So you have one company called TechApp, which provides presentation management software on top of your iPhone. So that's amazing in itself. Yeah. So you look at the number of people that actually spend so much time going through PowerPoint, putting through a presentation, worrying about the design, worrying about the flow, worrying about the content. Whereas what it does for you is takes away all of the design elements and just focuses you on putting together very good content. So that's great on one hand. On the other hand, I have a 3D augmented reality application that enhances video production and also enhances advertising technology. So that's another completely different application. We have another education company called Harness. The company that was doing the 3D augmented reality application is Vizarity. And then we have another application, another company that is called Harness that provides a way for teachers to have interactive tablet-based education and also management with students. They've been adopted both in Dubai and in the Middle East and also here in India. So it's a wide spectrum of companies actually. There's another company called SupportBee, which is a software as a service application for small and medium-sized businesses to be able to find a way for them to support their customers in a very simple and an easy and efficient manner. So it's a wide spectrum. That's lots of different. I think it's probably one of the best times I've seen in the last 5 years, and I'm hoping it only gets better from here. There are three major things that I'm seeing that are calling me to be a step function in change, right? I've been investing and I've been also an entrepreneur for the last 15-20 years. And what I've found is that on an ongoing basis, the number of companies coming in, which is the number of new companies getting started, we track about 14,000 entities at the Microsoft Accelerator. We have a fairly large database and we track this on an ongoing basis. And of those 14,000 entities, nearly 60% of them tend to be companies and the rest of them tend to be just two individuals starting off. So the step function has been more in terms of just number of people starting companies and the breadth of the ideas around that. You'll find people, for example, we have a couple of companies that actually are starting from two engineers who started NetApp, and they're building a hardware and software based solution to be able to find easy ways for network access storage to be a lot more efficient over gigabit Ethernet. So we have technology, pure core technology companies as well. So that's a good sign for us, right? So core technology companies starting to grow in India starts to become very, very interesting. Second part is investment, which you currently mentioned, right? If you look at the number of companies that are getting invested in both the angel side, some of them under the radar, and some of them that are reported. And then on the VC side, because of the fact that so many institutional investors have raised, hundreds, if not $200s of millions of dollars in committed funding in the last couple of years, that also has seen a significant jump from the 70s, 80s a year to the 150s a year, right, in that range. So that's also significant. The third good part of it is companies that are scaling and going abroad and finding ways to be able to get their revenue and profit basically. So in the last 9 months alone, we track about 36 companies that have moved from India after doing about, somewhere in the range of a little under $500,000 in revenue, moving to the valley and trying to figure out a way to be able to scale it. So all of those three things primarily give me an indication of confidence that there's a step function change for the positive, and this is probably as good a time as any, and it's only going to get better from here in terms of being an entrepreneur. There are three most important things that we look for when companies apply to our accelerator. Number one is the fact that we look for very coachable entrepreneurs. And you know that the stage we operate in. So just to give you a context, we have companies that are at the idea stage, two co-founders saying this is what we want to build. We have companies at the prototype stage. We have about 5 or so companies, they have some kind of a product trying to get customers. And then we have companies, 2 or 3 companies that are, have some customers, have a little bit of revenue, and they want to scale from there. So we have a spectrum of these. So coachable entrepreneurs is the number one thing. Second one is very large markets. So what we found in our own experience is that when you have a large market, even if you don't execute excellently, which I'm hoping all of our entrepreneurs will do, you still end up having a mid-sized to reasonably big-sized company. If you execute very well, you're obviously going to be a market leader. The third thing is we look for very disruptive technology. For us, technology is the higher order bit to a large extent. So very simple kind of technology companies that are very strong on the execution side from an operations perspective may not be a great fit for the Microsoft Accelerator. So those are the 3 most important things we look for. And the way we reach out and talk to companies is we have events in every location. We have about 84 events that we do every year. So at least 6 events in every region, almost every month. We'd love to meet our entrepreneurs way before they actually apply, so they can get a sense for what are the 3 top things that make us different than everybody else. So one of the most important things in the Microsoft Accelerator is we don't take any percentage of the company. So we provide an investment, we provide free food, we provide free boarding, we provide free space, we give you access to customers, which is the most important thing most startups need. And also we give you access to investors, and we also give you access and the ability to be able to go ahead and work with mentors who are not investing. So if you look at all of those things together, doing all of this and not taking a percentage of the company means a lot of commitment from our side. Right. So we're also looking for very, very committed entrepreneurs. And we'd like to meet them, we'd like to be able to understand what they're trying to do, and see if there's a better fit for how Microsoft can help these companies. Mostly from a customer standpoint, but investment also makes a lot of sense for some of these companies, and in some cases it also makes sense for them. I think startup capitals, there aren't enough. Right. So I want Hyderabad to be a startup capital, I want Chennai to be a startup capital, I want Bangalore to be a startup capital. And I think the 3 most important things, there's a very good book I think by Brad Feld that talks about startup ecosystems. And he's looked at 5 different characteristics that make a great startup ecosystem, which is the first of which is just awesome entrepreneurs, access to great talent, access to investment capital, access to early adopters and customers to a large extent, and easy mechanisms for people to be able to find exits. If you look at all of those criteria, then there is ways for different parts of the city, different cities, to get better on certain parts of the ecosystem. Bangalore has got a lot of entrepreneurs, but we have a lot of people that tend to be more engineering-driven, technology-driven entrepreneurs, not necessarily focused on customers alone, as Delhi tends to have the flip side. Right? The awesome company is one that has great technology talent at its heart, great sales talent to be able to take that and move forward, and great design and marketing talent to be able to build a great brand. So all of these things together are not found in one city alone in a lot of cases. Right? So Delhi also has the ability to do it, Chennai has the ability to do it. I don't think there are enough startup capitals. I wish we had 20. I wish Bhubaneswar was one.